Michigan Democratic Senate candidate Haley Stevens has just become a parody at this point. I mean, outside groups are pouring $50 million into the effort to get her elected, to help her beat Dr. Abdul El-Sayed in the Democratic primary. Abdul El-Sayed is Muslim. He's been very critical of Israel. Haley Stevens has said very passionately that she supports everything related to Israel and that Israel comes to her in her dreams. Of that $50 million that is being poured into this primary race, $30 million of it has come from AIPAC. Explicitly, outwardly, openly. AIPAC has spent $30 million
wow.
to help Haley Stevenson, a Democrat, beat Abdul El-Sayed in the primary. $30 million. And she has said in at least a couple of interviews that I've seen that she does not support limiting in any way, shape, or form America's financial or military support of Israel, the current Israeli government, the current Israeli military. And it's like, if there's ever been like a read the room kind of moment, first of all, the state of Michigan, in Dearborn, Michigan, has an absolutely massive Muslim population and a huge Palestinian immigrant population, Palestinian American population. There are people living in Dearborn, Michigan, whose entire families have been wiped out inside the Gaza Strip, multi-generational. And Haley Stevens is saying that Israel comes to her in her dreams. I mean, like, the one singular thing, well, two singular things that are uniting Republicans and Democrats alike. One is disapproval of Trump's war in Iran, which Israel had a tremendous amount of influence over us getting into, and disapproval of the current Israeli government and the current Israeli military, the amount of money that we give them, and the genocide that they've been conducting inside the Gaza Strip for going on 3 years.
Yep.
You know, I mean, when I think back to a couple months ago to the Democratic governor primary in California, and Tom Steyer spent, I don't know, $250 million of his own money, and those expenditures were worthless. I think he came in third. So we're starting to kind of see instances of this level of money ends up, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
But
and equality matters.
I think it's also an objective example of the fact that Haley Stevens and AIPAC think that Democratic voters in Michigan are fucking morons. And they have zero respect for them. $30 million. AIPAC has spent $30 million to support her in a primary race. It's not even the general election.
Nope.
And you talk to Democrats under the Democratic voters under the age of 40, and like their disapproval of the current Israeli government, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli military, the genocide in the Gaza Strip, the Iran war, the fact that we just hand them $4 billion a year for nothing so that they can have socialized medicine, free college,
yep,
and free abortion on demand. There's no Israeli inside of Israel who is going bankrupt for medical debt or has student loan payments. They have a better standard of living than we do, and we're paying for it.
Yep.
And the disapproval rates of Democratic voters under the age of 40 of all of that is like 90%. It. I mean, I'm glad that Haley Stevens and AIPAC are going as far as they are going. They are going as extreme as they are going. Because this is like the end of the road, man. If she loses this primary, and she's losing in the polling right now, El Sayed's beating her in the polling. If she loses this primary and doesn't even make it to the general election in Michigan, I mean, at some point, people who run AIPAC and make these spending decisions gotta be just like, man, we're just throwing good money after bad. And I am praying to God that this race is another example of that. I'm really, 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 really hoping that voters in Michigan do not make her the Democratic nominee for Senate this year. I'm really, really hoping that does not happen. It'll be absolutely heartbreaking if they do. Because of everything that I just said in this video. It's just fucking gross.
So that speaks for itself. But he also highlighted the governor gubernatorial race in California. I mean, to be fair, I mean, a lot of progressives endorsed Tom Steyer because he was the only candidate running on the progressive platform. And where the candidate quality in the race wasn't that good in the Democratic primary in California. But I think it's interesting he highlighted that because that is actually true. Tom Steyer is a self-funded billionaire, and he effectively spent millions of dollars to only come in third in the governor's race. And I do think this does speak to more than just the ideological rift in the party. I'm starting to notice that money is mattering less in campaigns now. It matters, don't get me wrong, but it's not as powerful as it used to be. Money is not the decisive indicator that you're going to win an election. You can raise millions of dollars and still lose, and you're seeing more and more races where that's happening. Sometimes people are raising more money lose. And, you know, it's just a reality. But I also think it comes down to candidate quality, the messaging discipline of the candidate, and the organization. Okay, and that has a lot to do with also election victories or failures. So it's more than just money. Now, money does help. I'm not saying that money doesn't matter. It certainly helps. It gets you in the top tier of the brackets of candidates, but it doesn't necessarily dictate whether you win an election or not. And it's mattering less than it once used to. Because it always comes down to candidate quality, vibe, energy, messaging discipline, and organization, and ability to connect with everyday people. So it's a lot of things. It's not just money. But yeah, and I would argue some of the candidates that raise more money by the establishment are just also just worse quality candidates. So voters can see it. They can smell the BS. You know, and that's encouraging. That's all I got to say about this subject. But anyways, y'all have a great night, great day. Love y'all. Goodbye.